The stars glittered cold and distant as the Galactic Empire's patrol fleet scanned the outer rim. It was a region rarely visited, a place where minor systems lived in fear and neglect. But today, the scanners picked up something unusual, something the Empire had not expected. "Commander, unknown vessels entering Imperial space," the scout reported. "Unregistered, human origin. Moderate firepower but highly organized." The Empire officers exchanged amused looks. Humans? Primitive, untested, and overconfident. "Send a warning," one officer said. "They will retreat when they realize the might of the Empire." But the humans did not retreat. From the bridge of the human vessel Resolute Dawn, Commander Elias Kane observed the Empire's patrols with calm focus. The crew moved efficiently, every action measured, every system monitored. Humans were entering an unknown and hostile territory, but they carried no fear-only purpose. Lieutenant Maya Chun spoke quietly. "Commander, patrols ahead. They are scanning us." "They don't recognize our markings," Elias nodded. "Let them observe. We are not here to provoke. We are here to prevent unnecessary conflict, and if we are attacked, we respond intelligently." The first encounter was tense but brief. A small patrol ship approached aggressively, weapons raised. The humans raised their shields but did not fire. Instead, they broadcast a calm message across all channels. "This is humanity. We do not seek war. We do not fight for conquest. But we will defend ourselves and the innocent. Stand down." The Empire patrol scoffed at the message. "Empty threats," one officer muttered. "They cannot match our fleets." "Open fire." But when they did, they were stunned. Human ships moved with precision, not recklessly. Their defenses were strong, but not excessive. Their attacks were calculated, disabling enemy weapon systems without destroying the ship itself. Civilians and non-combatants, hidden on nearby moons, were left completely unharmed. On the patrol ship, alarms blared. Officers shouted at each other, confused and angry. How are they doing this? We should be crushing them." "This isn't just combat," another whispered. "They fight, but not to kill. They fight to control the fight, to protect lives." "What kind of species does this?" The humans did not respond with anger or fear. They simply controlled the battlefield, moving with intelligence, discipline, and purpose. As the encounter ended, the patrol withdrew. The humans maintained their course, entering deeper into the Empire's territory. Word quickly spread through the Empire command. A new human fleet had arrived, and they were unlike anything seen before. The Council of High Officers convened urgently. "These humans? They are not like other species. They are disciplined, precise, and they protect those who cannot defend themselves. This is dangerous." Meanwhile, Elias Kane observed the stars. "We are not here for conquest," he told his crew. "We are here to show the galaxy a better way. We fight not to dominate, but to prevent domination, to end unnecessary conflict wherever we can." The crew nodded silently, understanding the weight of their mission. They had entered enemy space, but they carried a code stronger than any weapon. Intelligence, moral purpose, and humanity. At the edge of a minor Imperial system, human sensors detected civilians under threat from local raiders. Without hesitation, drones deployed, disabling raider weapons and clearing the path for escape. Not a single innocent was harmed. The Empire watched in disbelief. Humans were not just strong, they were precise, disciplined, and their actions carried meaning beyond strategy. They fought not for glory or victory, but to protect life and prevent war. The first arrival of humans had begun, and the galaxy would never view them the same way again. The Imperial Council convened in the Grand Chamber, its walls lined with holographic maps of the sector. News of the human fleet's arrival had spread rapidly. Patrols and scouts had reported something the Empire had never expected: humans who fought with intelligence, precision, and restraint. "This is impossible," a high-ranking officer said, pacing angrily. "They disabled our patrols without destroying a single ship. How can they be so controlled?" A young strategist spoke, voice steady. "Commander, it's more than control. Humans are not fighting for victory or for conquest. They fight to protect the helpless and prevent unnecessary destruction. They are different." Across the sector, Commander Elias Kane reviewed the reports from his fleet. Drones had neutralized threats, civilians had been evacuated, and enemy weapons had been disabled without loss of life. Humans did not kill recklessly. They did not attack for glory. Every move was precise, every action measured, every life considered. Lieutenant Maya Chun studied the holographic display. "They think we are weak because we do not fight like them. They don't understand that we are here to prevent war, not win it." Elias nodded. "Exactly. That is what they do not comprehend. Intelligence, discipline, and moral purpose make humans a force that cannot be underestimated." In the Empire's command chambers, generals debated. Some saw the humans as naive, idealistic fools who would eventually be crushed. Others, however, felt unease. "They do not conquer," one elder counselor said. "They do not pillage. Yet they move faster, strike more precisely, and protect civilians better than any Imperial fleet we have seen. If they choose to fight, not for victory, but to end all wars, we could be in danger." Reports confirmed what the Council feared. Humans were gaining allies among neutral species and oppressed colonies. News of their actions spread quickly. A small fleet had liberated a mining colony from pirates without a single casualty. Intelligence, diplomacy, and calculated action were winning hearts and systems, not sheer firepower. Back on the human bridge, Elias spoke quietly to his crew. "They are watching us closely now. The Empire does not understand why we act the way we do. That is good. Let them wonder. Let them learn that humans are not ruled by greed, not by anger, and not by lust for power." Lieutenant Chun smiled faintly. "They underestimate the meaning of restraint." Elias nodded. "Exactly. When humans act with purpose and morality, the galaxy sees a new type of power, one that cannot be defeated by brute force." In the Imperial territories, observers noted something strange. Humans saved civilians while neutralizing threats. They dismantled enemy operations without destruction. Colonies began to whisper of their actions. Even minor systems under Imperial control dared to hope that humans might protect them. The Council grew uneasy. "They are teaching the galaxy something we cannot control," one officer admitted. "These humans are changing the rules of war." At the edge of the system, humans prepared for the next encounter. They did not celebrate. There was no reckless pride. Their goal was clear: protect the innocent, disable threats, and demonstrate that war does not need to mean death. Elias looked at the stars. "We fight not for victory. We fight to prevent war. We fight to give the helpless a chance. That is humanity's code, and the Empire is about to learn it." The crew understood. They had entered enemy space, yet they carried a power no weapon could measure: intelligence, discipline, and moral courage. The humans were not just a new force, they were a new standard for the galaxy, the Imperial fleet. Gathered at the edge of the Jorath system, confident in their numbers and firepower. Scouts reported the human ships approaching, and the generals laughed. "These humans think they can challenge the Empire? Let them come. They will learn quickly that victory comes from power, not honor." Commander Elias Kane stood calmly on the bridge of Resolute Dawn. The human fleet was smaller in number, but every crew member knew their purpose. They did not fight for glory. They did not fight for conquest. They fought to protect life, to prevent destruction, and to show that war could be fought differently. Lieutenant Maya Chun studied the holographic display. "Commander, the Empire fleet is forming attack lines. They expect us to panic, to respond." "Recklessly. We must move carefully." Elias nodded. "Exactly. We are not here to win in their terms. We are here to end their cycle of violence and to show the galaxy another way." The first shots were fired, but the humans did not fire back blindly. Drones deployed across the battlefield, intercepting energy blasts and disabling enemy targeting. Systems. Ships moved in perfect coordination, blocking attacks while minimizing damage. The Empire was stunned. Why are they not attacking properly? Why are they protecting our colonies? One officer asked, confused from the human fleet. Elias's voice rang calmly over all channels. "We do not fight for conquest. We fight to end needless suffering. Stand down or face the consequences of underestimating humanity." The Empire tried to push forward. Fleets advanced, weapons blazing, expecting humans to crumble. But every move was countered with surgical precision. Engines misfired, weapons shut down, and command ships lost communication links not destroyed, but disabled. Civilians on nearby colonies watched in awe as humans moved through space like shadows, neutralizing threats without causing unnecessary death. Entire Imperial squads were paralyzed, unable to harm a single person or civilian structure. Lieutenant Chen whispered, "They thought we fight like others for victory. They don't understand. We fight to protect." Elias nodded. "That is the point. Intelligence, precision, and moral purpose are our weapons." On the Empire command deck, alarms blared. Officers shouted over each other, struggling to regain control. "How is this possible? They are not destroying our fleet, they are controlling it. Every movement we make is countered." One counselor muttered, pale-faced, "They fight not to win. They fight to prevent war. What kind of species does this?" The human fleet pressed forward, not with rage, but with certainty. Raiders and patrols attempting to flee were captured or disabled, with minimal destruction. Strategic targets were neutralized, command hubs disrupted, but no lives were lost unnecessarily. By the end of the engagement, the Imperial fleet was stunned and disorganized. They retreated in confusion, their pride shattered. Human ships hovered above the colonies, shields up, drones ready, but no celebrations. This was not victory, it was a message. Elias addressed his crew quietly. "We have not won because this is not a battle for victory. We have acted with purpose, with intelligence, and with morality. That is the strength of humanity. That is the message we bring." The crew understood. Across the galaxy, whispers would spread of the humans who fought not for victory, not for conquest, but to prevent war. And the Empire would remember humanity was not a species to underestimate. Above the colonies, civilians began to cheer softly, whispering of hope. Humanity had arrived in a galaxy that thought it ruled by fear, and in one confrontation, they had rewritten the rules. The Empire had been challenged, not with anger, but with intelligence and morality. And the galaxy would never be the same. The Imperial fleet had regrouped in orbit around the Draven system, confident they could overwhelm the humans with sheer numbers. They underestimated the humans as all others had. Commander Elias Kane stood calmly on the bridge of Resolute Dawn. "Phase 2 begins now," he said. "Remember, we do not fight for conquest. We fight to end needless suffering. Control the battle, protect the innocents, and disable the enemy." Lieutenant Maya Chun activated the fleet's tactical grid. Enemy ships moved aggressively, expecting humans to panic. Instead, every human vessel moved with precision. Drones intercepted attacks, disrupted weapon systems, and neutralized engines without destroying hulls. "Commander," Chun said quietly, "they're trying to regroup, but every maneuver we anticipate is already countered. They can't adapt fast enough." Elias nodded. "Good. Keep the pressure, but remember no unnecessary destruction. This is about showing them a better way." The humans advanced toward key Imperial strongholds. Energy shields flared as drones disabled defensive turrets and communications hubs. Human ships moved in tight formations, circling enemy vessels to disable weapons and engines. Civilians on nearby colonies were untouched. On the Empire command bridge, officers panicked. "What is happening? Our fleets are disabled without casualties. How can a smaller force do this?" One officer whispered pale-faced, "They are not fighting to win, they are fighting to stop war itself. And they are succeeding." On the colonies below, the oppressed populations watched the humans with awe. The humans were precise, disciplined, and moral. They neutralized the Empire's power without mass destruction, showing that strength did not require cruelty. A young Zorathi survivor from a previous mission whispered, "They fight differently, not for power, but to protect." Elias addressed his fleet calmly. "Every move we make must demonstrate intelligence and restraint. The galaxy must see that war can be controlled, that it does not have to mean suffering." The Imperial forces attempted a desperate counterattack. Ships fired wildly, hoping to break the human lines. But drones intercepted every shot. Engines failed under targeted electromagnetic pulses. Command ships were paralyzed without a single casualty. Lieutenant Chun smiled. "They thought fear and firepower would control us. They don't understand we fight to prevent war, not to conquer." Ilias's eyes scanned the battlefield. "Exactly. Let them see their mistakes. Let them learn that underestimating humanity is dangerous. Today, they learn a lesson they will never forget." By the end of the day, the Imperial fleet was fractured and demoralized. Strongholds were neutralized. Colonies were freed or stabilized. Civilians were protected. And humans had done it without celebrating, without cruelty, without bloodlust. Elias looked at the stars and spoke softly to his crew. "We have not won in the way the Empire understands. We have shown them something stronger, that intelligence, morality, and discipline are more powerful than fear and conquest." The crew understood. Across the galaxy, whispers would spread humans. "We're not a typical species." They did not fight for victory. They fought to protect, to control, and to end war. The Empire had been forced to reconsider everything they knew about power. The humans had changed the rules, and in the vast silence of space, the humans moved quietly, steadily, and deliberately ready for the next step in their mission. The Draven system lay quiet for the first time in centuries. The Imperial fleets that had once dominated its orbit were scattered, damaged, and demoralized. Yet there was no celebration aboard the human ships. Humanity did not celebrate destruction. They celebrated life preserved. Commander Elias Kane stood on the bridge of Resolute Dawn, looking at the colonies below. Systems that had suffered under the Empire were building, guided by human engineers and strategists. Civilians moved freely for the first time in decades. Humanity had intervened not to conquer, but to protect. The Imperial Council convened. Again, this time in urgent secrecy. Reports of human actions had spread across the galaxy. Patrols, strongholds, and fleets had been disabled, not destroyed. But humanity's influence had changed the balance of power. "This is unprecedented," one officer whispered. "They are not here to win. They are here to end wars." Another counselor shook his head. "We cannot fight them in the traditional way. Their strength is intelligence, morality, and strategy. Every act is calculated to prevent destruction and protect life. They are unstoppable in a way we cannot understand. On the colonies, humans worked alongside liberated populations. They repaired infrastructure, restored communications, and trained local defenses, but always with restraint. No unnecessary weapons were fired. No lives were taken. Every action was precise, every mission disciplined. A young colonist watched them carefully. "Why did they fight this way?" she asked. One human medic smiled gently. "Because fighting is not just about winning. Fighting is about protecting. That is humanity's code. That is what makes us strong." Elias Kane addressed his fleet. Quietly, "We have not conquered the empire. We have not claimed victory in the traditional sense. What we have done is far greater. We have shown the galaxy that war does not have to mean death. That strength is measured not by how many you destroy, but by how many you save. That is humanity's power." The crew nodded silently. Every action had been deliberate, every life preserved, every enemy humbled. The galaxy had witnessed a new type of power, calm, intelligent, and moral. In distant systems, the Imperial fleets withdrew, reassessing their approach. Colonies that had once lived under fear whispered of humans who fought to protect, not to dominate. Neutral species who had once avoided conflict now spoke of a new hope. The Empire realized that underestimating humanity had been its first mistake and a costly one. Above the Draven system, humans remained in orbit, vigilant but quiet. No triumphal speeches, no prideful displays, just calm, steady presence. Humanity had entered the galaxy not as conquerors, but as guardians, showing that even in a universe built on war, there could be a force dedicated to peace. As Elias watched the stars, he spoke softly to his crew. "One day, the galaxy will learn that strength without morality is weakness. One day, every species will see that intelligence and courage, combined with purpose, can end cycles of violence. That day begins now. Humanity fights not for victory, but to end all wars." The crew understood. They had changed the course of history, not through power alone, but through discipline, moral courage, and the will to protect the helpless. And somewhere in the galaxy, the Empire remembered, humans were not a species to be underestimated. They were a force of intelligence, morality, and unyielding purpose, and the universe would never be the same.